All right, guys, come on in here. Come on in. I have missed y'all. I have missed you profusely. I am here live from the Essence Festival. So I have enjoyed being here since what, Saturday? Yeah, there we go. I've been here since Saturday. And since Saturday, I've had a great time. Ooh, let me just adjust. There we go. Okay. So I'm live from the Virgin Hotels. You guys, I cannot tell you enough about how much I'm in love with the Virgin Hotel. From the heated pool. Yes, heated pool. You know, a lot of places, like, it's rained periodically throughout the weekend, but this little heated pool has just kept me together, from the heated pool to the live music that they have to even the happy hour. I can't speak about this place enough. I'm going to have a reel for you that's going to talk about that. But let's get into it, guys. We got this docket. Y'all thought it was over. Y'all thought it was over because the Diddy trial is over. Oh, we're just getting started. Okay, we're just getting started. Let me know where you are watching from in the chat. Yes. It says, how is the festival? I heard that people are not hearing good things. I'm about to tell you, we're going to start with that. We're going to start there. I'm having an amazing time. I don't know what people are talking about. Now, I'll say this. There have absolutely been some acoustic issues at the concert itself. Like when Glorilla was performing, she was complaining about the audio and the sound check and like the levels. And then I watched from a suite. I'm like, oh, girl, y'all, you're going to have to talk yourself into a suite. When you come to the Essence Festival, you're going to have to finagle your way into a suite. For sure. It's the suite life is literally a suite life. Thanks to my girl, Nicole Varner, who made it happen. That's another story. So yeah, there were some issues with like the audio, but aside from that, I'm actually, whoever didn't come, I just want to tell you thank you, because it made the lines a lot shorter. I was able to get in and out and do what I wanted to do quickly. So yes, come on, sweet baby. I'm in a suite, honey. I wish I could turn this little camera around. I don't think they could. I don't think I could really do that. But yes, I got a living room. We're in the living room. We have a balcony. I got a separate bedroom. One of my homegirls that came with me has met herself an Essence Festival boyfriend. Order in the court. Shake your Astroglide on that one. We're still shaking Astroglide over here. And let's just be clear. Shaking the Astroglide is not the same as those who were celebrating with baby oil on their bodies. That's a different story. But I also have to say, I really think if you followed Armand, so we talking about the whole on the Shade Room and other sources, they were talking about how people were celebrating the verdict by dousing themselves in baby oil. That wasn't actually true. Armand Wiggins on his channel, he gave funny recaps all the time, right? And as a part of those funny recaps, he would talk about the baby oil and different things. And so I just saw it as him being silly and goofy and all those things. If you didn't necessarily follow him, you may not have seen that. So I can get that. They are not, it's not the same. But yeah, we shaking the Astroglide here because I still have it in my purse. The Astroglide is still 3/4 full. I've only used it, just FYI, I've only used it for my elbows and my knees. So that's different. Yes, we did see the escort that exposed Cassie, and that escort was saying it appeared totally consensual to him. And more than that, there was another escort who has filed suit against Cassie and Diddy, claiming that they gave him an STD. So let's talk about it. And I'm going to tell you this, having sat there in a courtroom and heard all of the things I heard, I was wondering when somebody was going to get a disease. I'm not saying he's telling the truth, but I'm also not saying he's a liar. Somebody's got something. And I was actually surprised that in all of her stories, she did talk about getting UTIs, but Cassie never spoke of an STD. So that makes me think one of two things were true. Either the escort service that they were using required their workers to get tested, which means then they were more than an escort service. They were a hooker service. Or if they didn't require that testing, somebody got something. Okay, somebody got something nasty. So there we go. Yes. Yeah, somebody said I was thinking that the whole time. Yeah, the STD, over 200 walking. Hit those likes as you guys come on in. We've got over. Some say Combs has the A word. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. But I know with R. Kelly had herpes. and he wasn't afraid to give it to everybody else in the world. And that was part of how he was convicted of the trafficking, because it was via fraud, because it is fraud to induce women to do it to you unprotected, knowing good and well you've got the H word. You got the big H. Okay. Going back to Essence Fest though, real quickly. I had a great time. I don't know what people were talking about as far as it being different. There were fewer people, but my understanding is that there were fewer people, in part because there were some notable people like Tamika Mallory and others who were saying they were boycotting it, given that Target was a sponsor and that Target was going to be there. So to that end, I have to show you this to put it in context. Remember, over here, context matters. So again, they had the sponsor of Target, and many were like, well, wait a minute, we're supposed to be boycotting Target. Why would you allow Target to sponsor our Black Festival? Well, guys, got a little tea for you, and I think I might know why. So let's do this. I don't know, I'm going to share it. Make sure you can see that. All right. Nope, I want it bigger. Okay, there we go. That's fine. All right. And
all right. Hey, guys, let's talk about Essence Fest. I want to talk about
this is the mayor of New Orleans
out there.
I want you to hear this
and kind of speak fact on what's really, happening and what's not. So, look, no doubt about it that, it seems like Essence is a little bit lower key, not as hyped, that kind of thing, some lower attendance, things like that. So let's talk about what's fact and rumor. So there's a rumor going around that this is Essence's, last year in a 5-year contract.
This is the mayor of New Orleans.
Like the way that they're trying to leave. Well, let me set the record straight that actually this is not their last year. They have an additional year still on their contract. And the reason for that is because during COVID, remember when Essence couldn't come during COVID? Because of that, their contract was extended. So they're still going to be back in 2020.
Oh, so much. I thought it was the mayor. Maybe it's not the mayor.
On the kind of lower attendance and what's going on this year, I think there's a few factors that I think we need to talk about. Like one, of course, there was the whole Target thing. I think that's potentially one thing. And then, it's no secret that there's been some changes on the leadership side on Essence. And then
thank you for
the biggest piece, though. And here's what you need to listen to. Here's the biggest piece. This year, Essence got about $2 million less than they've gotten in the past from the state of Louisiana. That is a big reduction in cost to support the festival. And so I'll tell you this, that all needs to be worked out, sorted out, because let me tell you this, I do want Essence to continue to come here in New Orleans. It is really important that Essence is here in New Orleans celebrating Black excellence. It's really important. And I'll tell you this, as mayor, I'm going to do everything possible to make sure that we keep Essence here, but that also, we find a way that Essence is really a big win-win for the city of New Orleans and also for Essence to ensure that our local businesses, our vendors, our local artists, musicians, you name it, that they're all really able to benefit from Essence, and Essence is also able to benefit from being in the city of New Orleans. And I have no doubt in my mind that there is a path to get this done, but it's going to take all of us, being at the table together and working on this really year round.
Okay, got it. Shout out to What's Poppin' Nola. Make sure you guys follow that. If you're ever planning to come to New Orleans, come to What's Poppin' Nola. Not just because it's amazing. It's an amazing page. That's everything Nola. It's got 136,000 followers. But also because it was created by my cousin, Brittany Nicholas. And she's amazing. So there's that. All right, I'll pull that down. So you get the gist. So correct. It was not the mayor. I was incorrect. She is running for mayor. But whenever you hear people have that conversation about Essence Festival and what they felt was different, help them have the context of understanding, wait a minute. The state of Louisiana gave them $2 million less than what they usually have. And the reason Louisiana gives it to them is because what? It brings in tourism. It makes perfect sense that the state tourism board would give the festival money because the festival in turn gives the state money. Hello, right? So I just wanted to make sure you guys had that because there's a lot of conversations about that, but the context of that lack in funds is not there. And in turn, it also makes sense why the festival may have taken money from entities like Target, right? Because they're working with the $2 million deficit. And then you got entities. Oh, y'all, let me see if I can show you Target's booth. Hold on. Hold the heck on. When I saw it, I was like, wait, where is Target? What y'all talking about? Hold on. Y'all need to see it. If you see this, you guys are not. Hold on. I need you to see this. Hold on. I'm going to play it for you. Because some people, I heard somebody say, oh, people were complaining that that there was a long line for the Target booth. But hold on. Oh, here we go. This is it. 1 second. It's coming up. Because when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. That don't look like Target to me. Hold on. Oh, that's about to piss me off. Okay, here we go. There we are. Now look at this.
You couldn't even recognize this as the Target activation.
What? Does that look like Target? Mm-mm.
Y'all, you couldn't even recognize this as the Target activation. I was not thinking that. Y'all, you couldn't even.
There you go. So what people were saying was that Target kind of camouflaged itself into the vibe of the whole festival, which had like pink accent colors for the BeautyCon area. This was Target, y'all. That's not what Target looked like. To me, Target is red and white, and that's all it is. Okay, it's red and white. So when I saw this, literally, I was walking all through it, and I was like, oh, I didn't see the Target display. And my homegirl was like, we passed about 11 times. That was it. So many were saying that they kind of wanted to camouflage it they did not want it to become a protest point. Yes. Oh, okay. Lovely Nola says, my husband helped set the internet for the convention center, and he said Target always uses pink. Okay. I've never seen them use pink before, but I mean, it definitely blended in. Okay. Interesting. Every time Nolia, someone said everyone in Nolia doesn't have an accent and that Essence needs more sponsors. So also there was a lack of sponsorship substantially regarding Essence Festival. It is believed that lack of sponsorship is that previously different vendors were doing it in part for the DEI, but also in part for the Black businesses. To the extent they were doing it for DEI, and that's the reason that they pulled out, was stupid you. Because I feel like stupid you, because you investing in something like Essence Festival just exposes you to a larger customer base. You're not recruiting for jobs. And we don't go to Essence Festival to go to a job fair. We go there to have fun, listen to wonderful music. So, yes, they do need sponsors, and all of that does need to be worked out, and it's going to be a combination of a few things. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw that component. All right, next up is, here we go. All right, here we go. Next up, I think Dwight Howard is gay again.
What's up, y'all? Sugar V with Reality Recap. Here with some Love and Hip Hop Atlanta news for Amy Luciani and her husband, Dwight Howard.
A lot.
Now, according to the Gwinnett County website in the state of Georgia, it looks...
And to clarify, I like gay people a lot. I don't like people who lie and convince people to marry them when they're gay. Now, who knows? This is Dwight Howard and Amy Luciani, who's on Love and Hip Hop. And he very well might have told her, hey, I'm 39% gay. That's what I want. I need you to give me your gay percentage. That way I can decide, what are we dealing with here? Are we dealing with like thumb in the butt? Or are we dealing with, something more substantial? And I don't think Dwight clarified. We all know Dwight allegedly was dating, I don't know if they were trans for real, or if they were just a real pretty boy, but it was one of those situations. And what it appears, oh, you see my comment on the screen if you're looking. I said he wanted her to take it in the tootie. I had a question, but here it is. Our girl, Reality T Recap, Vanessa, breaking down what she found. Which was that Amy Luciani, her real name is Amy Howard now. Amber Howard. What is it? Yeah, Amber Howard. Amber Howard filed for divorce against Dwight Howard, who likes girls and boys.
Like Amy,
who likes girls and boys with dicks. Here we go.
He recently filed for divorce from Dwight Howard on July the 1st. Now, because this is a divorce in the state of Georgia, I'm not able to get the divorce documents online. You have to do a written request and mail it in to get a copy of it. I did get a copy of the divorce over from Tasha K's page. So again, this document was recently filed on 7/1. And it cites that the marriage is irretrievably broken and there's no chance for reconciliation.
Butts will do that.
Now, again, I was only able to see the filing, but what I did also notice, besides this complaint being put in on July 1st, was that on July 2nd, a mutual restraining order was filed. As I get more details as to what caused them to get a divorce, I'll definitely share. We know there has been allegations in the past few months of Amy finding out that Dwight still messed with Dwight Howard. Allegedly, she denied those allegations and backed away from putting her relationship on social media because she said she needed to protect her husband. But something has gone wrong here. I'll definitely keep you updated. It doesn't look like Amy will be on the upcoming season of Love and Hip Hop ATL. I'm assuming, it seems like, again, she backed away from the show because she wanted to protect her marriage.
She backed away from that show because that man was trying to put it up the tootie. Okay? She didn't want nothing in her tootie. And I don't blame you. I don't want anything in mine either. If you watched one of my prior sidebars, I talked about having very aggressive enema at one point in my life. And after that, I don't want anything in my tootie. Not a thumb, not a finger, not even one of the little intimate things that you use to douche with or whatever you're going to do to keep it clean. Don't keep it stinky. But the point is, someone said it really well. I'm going to put this comment on the screen. What about an annulment, right? How long has it been? Here's the thing. For an annulment, there are very specific grounds. So thank you. This is what I wanted to talk about. The importance of an annulment is this. If you have an annulment, right? And let's say there is a prenup at issue. If you can get an annulment, the prenup never has to come into play. Or you never have to pay someone. Why? Annulment means our marriage never happened. So if your marriage never happened, you never owe that person anything. So we don't know that Dwight Howard makes more money. I don't know that he does because of his random things that he does for a living. He very well could be a poor person. He looks like a poor person. He looks like one of those rappers, back in the 2000s who sold CDs out of the back of their Impalas. But I don't know. Do y'all agree maybe? Wait. As a person with IBD, nothing will touch my tootie except, wait, lovely Nola says, as a person with irritable bowel syndrome, nothing will touch my tootie except for a colonoscopy. Someone else said, no, there's no way he should be poor. Here's why I think he might be poor. Stay with me. And I went to college. I went to a D1 school, University of Pittsburgh. Now, there are a number of guys, they'll play in the league and then they'll go to Europe, or some guys that start in Europe and they really love it and they play for a long, long time. However, the trajectory where you play in America for a super long time, as Dwight did, I think he was like 13 years, and then go to Europe. Usually those men only go to Europe after the fact like that if they've run out of money. If they have not run out of money, then they kind of chill, spend time with their family, and or work on becoming a sports analyst in America. So in other words, they run to China after the NBA when the IRS is on their tail, child support for an ex-wife, child support for a kid. Hit that like button, y'all. Those kind of things come into play. So, we don't know. Somebody said he's with the big three, Ice Cube's basketball league. So he could be getting paid well there. Yeah, he was with Royce. Love me some Royce. He was with Royce. He could be paying well there. But what I'm saying is prior to the big three, he did all that time in America and then he went over to China and to get some change. Someone said they ran through that money, no home training at all. And also you have to remember he never had a wife. So it was just him and those transvestites running around trying to figure out how to invest that money. Okay. Also, I don't know the difference between a transvestite and a transgender, but I feel like a transvestite is like lower level, like they haven't completed a lot of the other things that a transgender person is. Feel free in the comments below to clarify for me what's the difference between a transvestite, or is that just old school terminology? Kind of like I was recently told to stop calling people bull daggers. Tiffany, what's a bull dagger? Okay. Good. Okay. That is what it is. I was asking my homegirl for sure. Do you think it's socially inappropriate to call somebody a bull dagger?
Yeah, they're LGBTQs.
My granddaddy said they were bull daggers.
My granddaddy said they was punks.
Right. Tiffany said our granddaddy said they were punks. My Uncle Leonard, hold on, y'all. My Uncle Leonard, he said he used to go to jail a lot, and he would say, "Oh, all I need is a punk and a bunk." And we were not allowed to hug Uncle Leonard. And I'm pretty sure that's why. Okay, someone asked what's a BD. We're not going to talk about that. Here's the problem. I follow too much Little Duval and I followed Little Duval, and Little Duval, he says Bull D, because I think he has a sister who's one. Now, my sister and brother, they're not one. Somebody said Simone is crazy. Oh, yeah, I'm not wrapped too tight. My grandma used to say bull daggers and punks. Yeah, they were. No, Chris, I'm not in New York anymore. Today I'm in New Orleans. There was a lot. Wait, bull dagger. Hold on. BOL. I said that to my daughter. She said, what the hell? All right, we gonna get it together over here. Oh gosh, somebody got me straight. Blush 210. Blush 210. Are you from New Orleans? Are you from San Antonio? I hope you're okay. If so, those floods were bad down there. That's where my family's from. But a transvestite is a proper term for a cross dresser. I thought so. I thought a transvestite was an uncommitted transgender. Okay, you're transgender. Kinda, you're thinking about it, you haven't committed to it, you're not there all the way, but you do like looking like a lady and you're born a man. Okay, so now we know a transvestite is an uncommitted cross-dresser. Someone put that on the screen.
Beyonce called them queens on her Renaissance
album. Okay, Tiffany says Beyonce called them queens on the Renaissance album, but that is transgenders. See, you got to give transgender, because they've committed, they stuck with it. So we support commitment. That's what it was. I believe trans will encompass all of it. Simone, wait, Mariana says, Simone, I'm going to tell you to my lesbian sister. Well, I bet she's strong. Don't let her beat me up. I don't know. Yeah, that is true. Okay, y'all are skipping topics. You said Lauryn Hill performed at Essence in an empty stadium. Well, that's I don't know whose fault that is. Because what I heard, I had a conversation today about Essence and that stuff. And what I was told is that it wasn't Lauren's fault. That Maxwell, that you can't cut Maxwell off early. And that makes sense. He's really cute. And even though he might be 49% gay, I like looking at him, and so does everyone else that was there, the ladies. And so they let him go until 1:30 or whatever it is. And then she started, I don't know, at 2:30. So the allegation was that because everybody went over, including Maxwell, that's what made it go longer. Okay, we're going to change the topics. We're going to go back to the docket. Jay-Z's case dismissal. Let me tell y'all something. I'm not new to this, but I am true to this. Jay-Z's case dismissal. Oh, here we are. Wait. I think I had that up there for you. Hold on. So with Jay-Z's case dismissal, I told y'all that case was going to get dismissed. I'm going to break it down to you really quickly because we're going to follow what's happened because it ain't over, baby. It's not over yet. So what happened was this. Originally, Tony Busby sued Jay-Z in the state of New York. And Jay-Z came back and said, hey guys, this is frivolous. We are going to fight it. Well, before Tony Busby filed that New York lawsuit, Jay-Z was aware that it was coming. He filed in California as a John Doe. He filed for defamation and extortion were the grounds. And when that was done, I was like, it's not going to work. I told you guys, I said it's not going to work. Part of the reason, here's what I want you to understand, that Jay-Z's case was dismissed on a procedural issue, not based on the merits. In other words, Jay-Z might be right. He may have been extorted. It may have been defamation. It could have been all those things. But the California court was not equipped to evaluate that. Where we will see it further continue is going to be actually in Alabama federal court. Here's what's going on. I'm your legal bestie, Attorney Simone. I break down celebrity cases in regular people terms so we can know what's going on and we can mind other people's business together. So with Jay-Z's case, he originally filed it in California. Great question. Someone asked, why California? Because the victim was not based in California. But I guess it was believed that California perhaps is Jay-Z's residence. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. But he filed in California. I believe it was California because Jay-Z and Beyonce do have a residence there. But more than that, California is so plaintiff friendly. I talked about this when we talked about Tyler Perry's prior lawsuit. Unlike other states like New York or Alabama, where you need, in a civil case, which this is, you need 12 out of 12 jurors. You need all the jurors to find you guilty or find the defendant guilty of whatever it is, even in civil court. In California, you only need 9 of the 12, meaning you only need 75% of the jurors to find you guilty. Therefore, most plaintiffs prefer California court. So Jay-Z filed against Tony Busby in California court under extortion and defamation, basically saying he sent a demand letter to Jay-Z saying, hey, if you don't pay up these millions in this lawsuit, we're going to out you, we're going to say your name, and you're going to lose all these endorsements. So you may as well just give us the little millions that we're asking for. Because guilty or innocent, the hit to your reputation will be worth way more than we're asking for you. And Jay-Z was like, no, not going to do it. Right? Absolutely, cousin Andrew, California does have anti-SLAPP laws. Anti-SLAPP is not going to be relevant here. Anti-SLAPP is a law where basically, if you sue someone for defamation, that person can come back and basically sue you for lawyers' fees and say, prove it. The issue here, though, that I explained was he sued Busby. He would have been better off if he sued the client. He sued Busby. Lawyers, we have a immunity. It's a limited immunity, but we have an immunity for lawsuits. That is to protect us. Without immunity, lawyers could never bring lawsuits because we'd always have to fear being sued by rich corporations. So because lawyers have this immunity, our immunity protects us from bringing lawsuits as long as we did our due diligence and as long as we are not extorting. You cannot sue a lawyer for bringing a lawsuit, even if you feel like it's frivolous. You can file for sanctions, but you can't sue. So what Jay-Z did was to get around lawyer immunity for filing lawsuits. The way you get around it is you say, oh, this wasn't a regular lawsuit. This was extortion. He claimed this was extortion. And basically the court said, we don't believe you. There's no evidence of that because the evidence you did get, which was an affidavit and other things, the court said, we're not admitting it into our case because it's hearsay. Therefore, your case has to be dismissed. Here's the thing. Stay with me. Yes, so it's a limited immunity. If you still can't extort people, but it's limited. So what happened was, first Jay-Z filed the California case. Then Busby filed the New York case. Well, in the New York case, that's the case that Jay-Z was most focused on. That was filed the day before Blue Ivy was supposed to be in The Lion King on the red carpet. Disney did not want Jay-Z to escort his daughter on the red carpet. Him and Beyonce was like, hell no. And they negotiated whatever. They talked it through. He filed whatever he needed to file. And Jay-Z was able to escort Blue Ivy. Ooh, not Black Ivy. I mean, she is black. Beautiful. But Blue Ivy. So here's what it was. So no, it wasn't that Jay-Z refiled. Let me clarify. It was that Jay-Z originally filed in California. Then Tony Busby filed a lawsuit against both Jay-Z and Diddy in New York. This is where they made the allegations against the 13-year-old girl. I call her the slow lady because something's not right there. I got to see her IEP because it ain't adding up. They filed against the 13-year-old who claimed that they attacked her after the VMAs. Well, Jay-Z knew that wasn't true, and she filed under Jane Doe. Jay-Z knew it wasn't true. So Jay-Z filed in response a sanctions motion. In New York, here's how sanctions work. So in other words, there's two ways for Jay-Z to win. He could have either won his California extortion suit, or he could win the New York suit for sanctions, meaning Busby had no business filing this lawsuit because he knew it was a lie. We told him it was a lie. He had evidence it was a lie, but he proceeded regardless. Therefore, Your Honor, we are asking you to sanction him by awarding us millions, our attorney's fees, and whatever additional amount Your Honor thinks is reasonable to punish Busby. Well, Jay-Z filed that motion. And guess what the judge said? The judge says, this motion is okay, but New York law requires that before this motion can be ruled on, you must show that you reached out to Busby, told him, hey, these are the lies, and gave Busby a chance to dismiss the lawsuit. Remember, I'm licensed in Texas, New York, and New Jersey. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So the judge said, hey, I can't rule on this motion because you did not first reach out to Busby and give him a chance to dismiss what you're calling is a frivolous New York lawsuit. Baby, so Jay-Z reached out to Busby and now did that, and Busby dismissed it. Order in the court. Busby dismissed it. Here's the problem for Jay-Z. By Busby dismissing the lawsuit on his own, Jay-Z is not entitled to a dime. He does not get his lawyer's fees. He doesn't get a penalty fee. He doesn't get any compensation for the fact that he almost did not even get to walk his daughter on the red carpet. So Jay-Z's pissed. He was like, how is this fair? Oh, okay. He gets to file against me. You know, these sponsors come back to me and talk to me any type of way and try to, drop me left and right. And you're over here telling me, oh, I got to go get his permission first and talk to this fool about dropping the lawsuit before you'll rule on my motion. What the hell? What the helly? So that's what happened. So under New York law, Jay-Z can't get nothing. But I told you, I was like, look, that California judge is signaling that California judge ain't finna give him nothing under the California original lawsuit that was for extortion and defamation, largely because he couldn't. Hit that like, y'all. Hit that subscribe, too. Therefore, here's what Jay-Z did, baby. So once Busby dismissed, peep this. This is like legal maneuvering. Once Busby dismissed the New York lawsuit, right? Because he realized, oh, girl is lying or whatever. He did not want to have to pay sanctions to Jay-Z. Once he did that, The alleged victim was no longer represented. Jay-Z's team immediately sent investigators to Alabama, where old girl lives. They knocked on her door. Knock, knock, knock. They knocked on that little trailer. It was probably like this on that trailer. You know, them trailers, they got them thin doors. Some of them, they real nice inside. Some of them. They knocked on that door, and the investigator went in and sat down with her. Got a whole affidavit where she said these things didn't happen, X, Y, or Z. Now, many were asking, how was Jay-Z able to even, we got over 800 likes. Watching, but only 200 likes. So hit that like. How was Jay-Z's team able to talk to someone represented? Because she wasn't. That girl was not in the California lawsuit. California lawsuit was only against Busby. She was part of the New York lawsuit. New York lawsuit has now been dismissed. So technically she's not being represented. They were able to send the investigators to her house. They get the affidavit where she says she's lying. So what does Jay-Z do now? He now files a third lawsuit. He filed the first one, which is California. The second was filed by Busby. He files a third federal Alabama lawsuit that continues today. That California federal lawsuit, I'm going to answer this. The California federal lawsuit is the one where he's alleging a whole bunch of things against Busby and stuff. And basically he gets the second shot at the apple. And that was because he could tell the California judge was not going to go in his favor. Now, Blush 210 says, so Jay-Z didn't initially deny the charges prior to Busby going public. Yes, he did. That's what the defamation and extortion lawsuit was about. So prior to Busby going public, Jay-Z filed the lawsuit saying this is all fraudulent, this is extortion, and this is defamation. So that was literally him saying it didn't happen. Now, Felicia says this is where it gets suspicious. The girl is not bright. Why take advantage of that? Well, I don't know that they realized at that point that the girl isn't bright, but also if she's not bright, it's easier for a lawyer that is behaving unethically to take advantage of her. So I would say it's important at that point for someone like Jay-Z, if you feel like this chick is being taken advantage of, to get an affidavit where she's saying, he put me up to this. So that's what she's saying. Jay-Z is absolutely not being charged by the feds at this time. Oh, yeah, knocking on the trailer. She said, yes. All right. Y'all just be saying anything. Okay. Not sure what you're referring to. Jay-Z should take the DNA test. Oh, yeah, that's related to his kid. All right, so that is the Jay-Z update. And then just real quickly, we're going to do the Tyler Perry update. Hold on. There is another lawsuit related, here we are, to Mr. Perry and Mr. Perry's Productions. Here we go. It says another Perry actor claims assault against a top exec. Now, this one is not directly against Mr. Perry. So just to clarify that. Braxton Wells, known for his role on The Oval. Now, remember, the white boy, Dixon, he was also on The Oval. So The Oval just got people just funneling each other left and right, apparently. On The Oval, has taken to Instagram to accuse Mark E. Swinton, vice president of scripted programming at Tyler Perry Studios, of SA. In a viral video, Braxton claims that Swinton groomed and R-worded me while abusing his power, booking Branton from LA to Georgia under false pretenses, taking him out to dinner, then allegedly giving him substances and hurting him at Swinton's home. The actor is now calling out Mr. Perry for allegedly allowing, quote, a predator in your house and covering it up. Oh my God, I have a blouse just like this one. He is handsome. Oh, I'll date you. I won't give you legal advice because that'll be a conflict of interest. I'll date you. And I have, it's not a blouse. It's more of a dress made out of a similar fabric. Gosh, you're so cute. Do you like girls? All I need is 29% gay or less. All right, anyway. Things get darker, it says. Braxton also shared a, quote, settlement agreement reportedly worth $500,000 signed by Mr. Perry's studios. It said the studio denied liability, but Braxton claims the payout came with a strict NDA demanding his silence. The settlement was finalized before fellow actor Derek Dixon, we talked about him, filed his $260 million. This made me think, like, oh my gosh, I wonder if Braxton is like, wait a minute, the other guy's suing for $260 million. Did I lowball myself with the $500K? Braxton says he accepted the money under pressure and even consulted Dixon's legal team. Oh, that's smart. Who allegedly turned him away due to Georgia's statute of limitations. Oh, hell no. That don't make sense. Wait. If this is the agreement. Settlement release. Wait. I need to make sure y'all see this on the screen. Can y'all see this? Stay with me. What is it? Oh, okay. That should be the complete. Okay, wait. Let me see this. Okay. Oh, wow. Y'all. Oh, wait. It said, hold on. It says that Dixon's legal team turned him away due to Georgia statute of limitations. I'm going to say I don't believe that right now. Something about that. The milk is not clean. Here is why. If you watch my prior video on Dixon's statute of limitations expired. And I believe that's why Dixon was trying to pursue it under California law when it should have been, Dixon's case should have been pursued under Georgia. But this guy, by and between Mark Swinton, TPS, related parties, and Braxton Wells. But Braxton Wells, if that's being signed October of 2024, that should not be an expiration of the statute of limitations. I say that because statute of limitations is generally 2 years. But maybe the conduct itself happened more than 2 years, and maybe just the agreement was signed 2024. That could very well be the case. So it says denial of liability, recitals, consideration. He's a proud whistleblower, it says. All right. It says he's urging federal authorities to revisit the case and consider criminal charges against Tyler Perry Studios for allegedly shielding a high-ranking exec and coercively silencing victims. Now, Derek Dixon's lawsuit, that was the Caucasian boy. His lawsuit, it said this scandal closely follows Derek Dixon's blockbuster $260 million lawsuit that dropped weeks ago. Dixon also was from the Oval and alleges that Perry harassed him, detailing incidents of uninvited touching and blah, 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 blah. What's next? Braxton has made his case public. It's unclear whether law enforcement or feds will open a criminal inquiry. I'm going to say at this point they're not, because the things he's alleged are all civil. They're civil. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Anybody know what Christian Keys is up to? He's so cute. Oh my gosh. He's so fine. It doesn't make any sense. But that's not what I'm supposed to be focusing on. Hold on. All right. So on the docket, we did Jay-Z. We did Dwight Howard's gay divorce. We talked about Essence Fest. We talked about the Tyler Perry lawsuit. And finally, the Diddy update. Listen, Diddy was denied bail. October 3rd is going to be his bail hearing. And I'll see this. Wait. What did I do this time? I don't know. He's getting his show to prove that Simone loves the gay boys. I do love the gay boys. I love them so much. I need more gay boys in my life. If you're a gay and you're a boy, be my friend. Especially if you're in Houston or anywhere I'm traveling to. Houston, I'm going to be in Playa del Carmen soon. I'm going to be in Chicago. I'm in New Orleans. I would really like a gay in New Orleans because y'all know where to go. I want to go to that little place you guys go to. That's a country club. Okay. Anyway. Back to the finale with Diddy and the finale of the update for Diddy. October 3rd will be his sentencing. Initially, after the guilty verdict, The feds, Maureen Comey was like so upset. She stood up and when they were asking for immediate bail, she was like, Your Honor, we're going for 20 years. That's what she said in that moment. And she was terrified. She's not actually going for 20 years. She's going for like a minimum of 51 months to like 62 months or something. Whereas the defense is saying based on the guidelines, it should be closer to the low end, 21 months to something else. Hit that like. Oh, sorry, D. Christian Keys blocked you. What'd you do? I'm sorry. We'll talk about it. What the feds are trying to do and what Diddy's team is trying to do is they went the lower end, which is 21 months to something in that range. I think it's 3,100 months. In the end, what the judge has signaled, in my opinion, based on how he stuck with the rules, he went ahead and he kept Diddy incarcerated. There was no bail. Number one, that follows the law. When people were talking about, inclusive of myself, they were like, well, it was just the Mann Act, it wasn't tampering with witnesses and the other things that initially were keeping him in jail without bail. All right. You got to remember, there's a different standard for initial bail versus bail after a guilty verdict. Where there is a guilty verdict and where there has been evidence of violence, which there was here, you have to keep the person locked up. More than that, let's think about it this way. In most instances, well, actually 100% of the instances that I'm aware of, where someone was granted bail, where they did not have to sit in jail while they were awaiting sentencing, those 100% of the time were times when that person had not been locked up throughout the trial. Those were times when someone had already made bail. In other words, there are no instances that I am aware of that I've experienced where someone could not make bail or was not given bail all the way up, was then found guilty, and after being found guilty, got bail for the first time. It's usually the opposite. It's usually you're given a bail, even if it's a super high one, all the way through trial. Then if you're found guilty, the judge then decides, do I want to let them sit out? Like, I believe the Chrisleys, those Caucasians, they were out prior to sentencing because they had never been in. They went in, they were arrested, they were booked, they made their bail, they sat out the whole time. So that's what changes things there, okay? And then here with the judge, the way the judge is kind of signaling, I think it's going to be a time frame in between what Diddy's team wants and what the prosecution wants. The judge is very much a rule follower. And more specifically, I think the judge is very closely going to follow the recommendation of the probation officers. So the federal and the feds, there are probation officers that do a sentencing report. I think he's going to follow the sentencing report. Whatever it says, it's very much likely what he's going to do. Once that becomes published, baby, get over here. Get over here. We're going to shake that Astroglide. I still got it. I've only used this much. And I really just use it for my elbows. Now look how ashy they are. Look. Yeah. So we're going to shake our Astroglide when that sentencing report becomes open. It's going to be filed on the docket. Based on what that is, the judge will likely follow it. And whether it says to stack the two sentences or one sentence, in the end, what I do appreciate about what the judge's approach was, is the judge said, listen, the judge was basically like, you got off on the harsher charges. And you got off by telling everyone, hey, it's just domestic violence. So, but what you're not going to get over here, you're not going to get a free pass. You don't get to get off of harsher criminal charges by claiming I only committed domestic violence and then coming to me and saying, oh, Your Honor, he's not violent. Let him out on bail. Hush. You're making stuff up. You're lying. And you're full of it. You're full of caca. You're full of doo-doo, caca, pee-pee. All right. So that's all we got for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't worry. We got a lot more content. Share this on YouTube. Share this on the Twitter, the X, and let me know what topics you want me to cover below. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Simone.